I am leaving. How are you? So good to see you. Hope you're having fun. And that, let's see, it says we're completely live. So I'm assuming that is the case. And let me take care of this little business as we go around and around. It says live. Let's see. Yeah. Says connections excellent. So we're all in good shape then. That's all I can say. So good to see you. All right. Got everything here running normal. Do, 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 do. Oh, 29. Oh, that's a good sign. So BOSTO being to one unto us all in favor, and hope you had a great Saturday and Sunday, whether you call it the weekend, the beginning and the end, or the beginning of the week. Hope it was a good one. Was here. Let me give the hugs to everybody. World needs healing, and it's the small gestures that count a lot, particularly in the ether. It's not so much the big things, it's the small things. Or at least that's what I've seen. So what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Hello, David Castle, Lost in Space. Mike Matthews, man, good to see you as well. Brian, 1958, what a fine year. Tony Rain, hello, and Posey and Jargo, good to see you. I think I saw Big Al. I think Big Al got his booty checked out. Hey, Cowboy, what's up, Susie Q? Much love to you. Marsha, so good to see you, hon. Much love, beloved Abstract. Deborah Truex, good to see you. And Elderberry. Hey, Tessa, good to see you as well. And Peter and Rocker Chick, what's up? Kent Cook, man, so many people here. Crazy Diamond, hey, man, I like that one. Gaia, much love to you and Paul. So good to have you all here. And Emerald Eagle. Bosto to everybody. Targeted in Ireland. Top of the morning to you. Kaz, how are you, hon? Got to have you back on. We haven't had you a while. Let's see what's going on with you. And Lynn, good to see you. Andrea, is it Andrea? Okay. Hello. Much love to you as well. Doug, what's happening, RF? Loretta, boy, lots of people. So I want to say a big thank you to Chris Swanky, and I think I got that right. So I think it's a he, maybe a she. Anyway, Chris, thank you. This is beautiful, isn't it? Look at this, folks. Is this not some amazing? Look at the work on that. The detail. Chris, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is beautiful. It hangs right here in the Hall of Fame, right there. So that's where that's going. And thank you. It's beautiful, beautiful. So what's happening? How are you? I'm just trying to read the chat room. A lot of people in there. So anyway, weird stuff going on. Very, very weird stuff. Many of you have saw the video I posted on Saturday. I'm not letting that go, and I'm going to show you, but I want to show you something that happens in the sky that I don't know why, but why this. Now, this was last week. Interesting cloud. Number one, it was very low, and you can see it's a triangle. Strange, but it gets weirder. So Friday, this was right over my house. Now, I don't know how they do this. I live at 6,000 feet of elevation, and so the winds above us are, they're pretty brisk. The jet stream in the mountains, it produces a great deal of wind. I don't know how you do this. And by the way, this is in the natural light, and took this down and just simply lowered the gamma on this, the contrast. But anyone want to tell me how they do this? And if you'll take particularly attention at the crown, like right here. Um, the way the sun was hitting that, it was wanting to be a sundog, but it, as you can see, had all the characteristics. But I don't know how you do clouds like this, and I don't know how you get them to stay up there for about 10 minutes with very little degradation of what's going on. And you can see this is the point right here. Um, who knows? I mean, seriously, strange stuff. That's all I got to say. And then I've been having the, I call them cloud sifts. I don't know what they are, but these, and there's many people around the world picking these up as well. Um, call them what you want. I have my own theory about it, but very clear to me that these are a life form that exists in the firmament, and many people around the world are picking up. Some people call them angels. I don't know if I would go that far, but you can see very clearly. And there are other times when I'll walk outside and they'll be right over the house. I've seen two of them look like they actually were touching wing to wing. But, and then of course we've got the old chemtrails coming through here. Got to have those, don't we? And then we have the black chemtrails. These are the ones that, let's say, they don't show up because the sky, this is one that I had to take the gamma down in contrast, and you can see, but there it is. So whatever that is, I don't know. You can pick and choose what you think, but look outside and start taking pictures. Beloved Abstract says, I call them clouds. Yeah, they are clouds. Relentless Maverick says, project. I can't see that. Why? Is that what it is? Well, it's on your video. Well, look over there. Check it out sometime. Absolutely. There is no geoengineering aliens laying the chemtrails. I think it's us. I think we're the ones that are doing. They are watching. Yeah, I think they are, Kent. I think they are watching. It's like, what the heck? All right. So a lot of comments on what my little, and I'm ordering one that's even going to have greater magnification, but this is the one I used. I mean, people want to know the make and model on it. I can't really tell you because I don't have the box. But as you can see, it's pretty good. And, you know, you keep the camera from being contaminated. It has the cap, and then you can actually zoom in. And even at 200 plus magnification, it does reveal things. Now, I'm ordering masks of all different types. I have 3 different ones here. I haven't even opened these yet. Making no recommendation on any of these. Been testing these. These I've tested. These these are, we're not wearing these anymore. We're wearing these because of what we found in these, which are pretty much standard out there. I don't know what's in these, but I won't wear them. So people wanted to know, well, can you sanitize them? I do. As you can see, this is a sanitize spray that is recommended to used in hospitals, other things. So number one, what I have found thus far is really weird, is I cannot find any mask on the general open consumer market that's not made in China. Now, you can draw your own conclusions. But I do find it so interesting, and I don't read Chinese, but they do put their stickers. And give me 1 second if I can find it. There it is. So I'm guessing this is their sticker of approval. Of course, as an American, I can't read Chinese. I have no idea what it says, but I do get the idea that, you get the red star. So I guess that's we should be all resting assured on this. I don't know what's going on with these masks. I really don't. I know this, that whether these fibers are carbon fibers, it seems like and I can tell you these masks are really clean here. I cannot find any contaminants in these particular masks, and others I've opened up, as I've shown you. Yeah, heavily contamination. And whether they're fibers of a chemical kind, whether some people suggested they were carbon fibers, I don't think so. I know what carbon fibers are, and this is not that. One theory someone wrote said that it could be as well that people are actually expunging these out of their breath. um, Again, when you get down to the 200 microns, um, amplification, excuse me, I don't know. I am setting up. I've ordered some Petri dishes. I've ordered some sterilized slides, and it's my intent to pull these out, start making a data file on them, and start subjecting them to what we would be basically subjecting them to anyway. That is a closed environment where the breath is coming out at least at 95 degrees. It's about 50% or more saturated with the moisture of your own lungs. So we're going to find out. I don't know if they're worms or not. I don't know. Nanobots, I don't know as well. There's something in these masks, though, I can tell you. These we will not wear. We threw a lot of these away. We have a number of these, and every one I pulled out, I don't know what the hell is in there, but I'm just sorry I actually ever wore one. That's all I got to tell you. And by the way, I mean, there is some really, let me just share this with you, because there's some strange stuff going on out there. And I'm a newbie at this. Who would have thought? This is Natural News. Bombshell: disposable blue face mask found to contain toxic asbestos-like substance that destroy lungs. Now, it's real interesting when you think about this, because what they have done to the planet is something that's never been done before. Now, even if you go back to 1918, during the Spanish flu epidemic, the masks back then were very different. They didn't have these type of masks. Most people were literally wearing makeshift masks. They had them in the hospitals to a degree, but again, nothing like this on a worldwide basis. Isn't it interesting that in 1918, they didn't shut the world down? But for the last year and a half, we've now subjected the human population to these masks. And I contend that in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have an epidemic of respiratory ailments in people. And anyway, they give out what kind of masks these are. This is a thing in Canada. Canada's, I got to tell you, Nina, I saw that you're in the chat room. Canada, y'all are messed up there, man. Your government is, whoa. Anyway, be that as it is. Now, I want to show you something else. Something's happening down in the Miami area. Who knows? It may be spreading throughout all southern Florida. but the koi fish are dying over the entire region. And if it was just the fish, that would be concerning enough. But they're also finding out raccoons, other wildlife suddenly dropping dead, as though they are somehow being either poisoned by the air that they're breathing. Maybe they've ingested something, but for it to be so widespread, who knows? I don't know. All I know is that there is something going on. So I'm going to continue to stay in on this. I know there was other channels out there that have others information on that. I'm trying to get some of them on here and see if we can continue. Lynn and I are doing our own experiments. Won't get into them, but we're going to try to see what's happening here. Something's happening. And, you know, I'm suspicious that when I tried to find masks, you know, it used to be you could buy 3M. 3M was a good company, but it's very difficult to find masks that are actually domestically made. And I don't think China is our friend. I'm just telling you, I don't think they have Americans' best interest at heart. I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but who knows? Something is happening. What's on this deal right here? So let's see what's going on here as well. Give me 1 second, folks. So let's see, where are we at? Got so much on my list. So how was your weekend, folks? Was it fun? Did you have fun on it? I did. Okay, I think everything's back cool. So tell me your stories. I mean, got a lot of comments on the short video I posted there, and you know, diverse opinions, diverse approaches, which are all cool. I don't have the answers. I don't know. Uh, it just bothers me that, you know, we got to breathe that crap, you know, set my people free. I want to breathe free. Yeah, that's what we should say. I want to breathe free. And then someone said, and so we have other friends who said, well, you know, what we wear are these cloth masks. And so I'm getting some of those, but I have a sense that there is this thing called shedding that apparently all fibrous material does. So I don't know if wearing, you know, a mask made out of material, cotton or whatever, I don't know. What made me look? It's interesting. Someone sent me a video. I'm trying to catch up on all the emails, and I checked it out and I went, what the, you know what? And of course, I was skeptical. I went, no, bullshit. That's what I said. And so I have, you know, I have my own mini lab set up. And sure enough, I, you know, had the magnifying instrument and actually have ordering a standard microscope. Oh, it's decked out. Um, so I put it underneath there. One of the masks I've been wearing. And I went, oh, crap. That's exactly what I said. So I called my wife in, who's a nurse. Everyone knows that. And I said, honey, tell me, what do you think on this? And she says, well, she said, I'm not sure why they have the black fibers in and the way the dispersal is. It's if it was to be part of a carbon fiber background, right? It would be interwoven into the mesh of what we were looking at, and it wasn't. It was randomized, and there were some that were completely inert, and there were a couple that freaked us both out. the one that was a circle that opened up and then almost like it was wanting to freaking strike out, that was weird. And I can tell you, I have found a couple more. So I'm using my wife's steamer, and I'm building an apparatus to where I can actually shoot warm steam into the fabric and be recording it through the microscope to see what happens. And we'll be able to see the difference between the two sets of fiber in there. Yeah, weird. And it's interesting, Brian, you mentioned that up. Growing up, I was a drywall finisher and damn good at it too, journeyman. But in the early days, when you're finishing drywall, a lot of material had asbestos in it. So yeah, and I look at this and I go, interesting, Nina. That's interesting. So we can pretty much check off quality assurance of a clean environment, right? Yeah, that's exactly what you want. Where are you making these masks? Well, this factory used to be a coal mining factory, but we thought it would be perfect for making masks for Americans. Yeah, sure. What an idea. To our American friends. Yeah, I'm sure. Someone will say, oh, you can't say that. Oh, that is so funny. And the thing is, we went out to eat Saturday. Finally, the county where I live in, finally the politicians, I'll be nice on that, finally got that epiphany going, oh, well, let's see. Texas seems to be doing okay. South Dakota seems to be doing okay. North Dakota, what's going on here? And so we actually got to go out to a restaurant. Fabulous. I miss going out to restaurants. I mean, I really do. I enjoy that. It's part of our social nomenclature, It's where you can go out, you're socializing with, friends and family, and you're amongst other people. Yeah, it was quite transformative. A little different seeing the waiter all the time wearing the mask. At least they didn't have the face shield. So, but yeah, it was nice because you didn't have to wear a mask. In fact, the sign said you don't have to wear a mask if you're actively eating or drinking. Well, it only took us about 30 nanoseconds to figure out exactly how you work this to your advantage. So yeah, anyway, I hope it was fun. Hey, Jules, what's up? And hope wherever you are, get out and support the restaurants. I mean, um, I was part of the team that developed the first pay at the table solution for the United States, going back nearly 20 years ago. And so my whole point is, if you can get out there, and if your state isn't the fascist mindset, support the restaurants. I mean, it's going to come to a point where the restaurants will be the last place where people can actually enter into the workforce. The automation that's happening in fast food, and by the way, isn't it odd how they can give you such large quantities of this food so cheap? Oh yeah, that's going to be good for you. But they're automating it. A lot of the big fast food joints will be coming out with automated robotic hamburger flippers, which will do the fries as well. And you'll basically pretty soon won't even have a human being greeting you. Yeah. Isn't that just a lovely thought? But get out there and support those restaurants and make sure to tip the waiters, the waitresses. Hey, make sure to tip the bartenders or even the busboy or the dishwasher. People forget about the dishwasher. You know, send a buck or two back there. You'll be surprised what it'll do for them. All right, moving on. So I'm convinced something is afoot. I have a couple of really cool PDFs by the same author, by the way, but it is really interesting to read those who have made this a field of study. This one is called The Chemical and Biological Depopulation: Why the Water We Drink and the Food We Eat Make Us Infertile, Feeble-Minded, and Ill. I think the guy was on to something. I love the graphics of this, by the way. Is this not cool? I mean, that's some far out artwork. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, isn't that freaking expressive? Come on. It's by Kevin, I think that's Mugere, Gaulale. This was produced in 2012. So, and this dude's all about warning people, warning us. You know, it's like I said, how does Burger, Make Me King for the Day, offer two of their largest Whopper hamburgers, right, that weigh about, I think, 2 pounds, thereabouts? How can they offer two for $5? And you get the fries in there as well, Come on, folks. And of course, they're the ones doing the plant food burger. Yes. He said this is a People's Protection Force emergency publication. It contains life and death information, and as you go through this, it's 178 pages. It'll take you probably, if you just stay steady at it, probably about 3-4 hours to go through. Chemical and biological depopulation. He writes here, he says, wherein I will prove beyond a reasonable doubt through statistical, demographic, and comparative data that water, salt, milk, fluoridation have been deliberately employed by governments throughout the world from the end of World War II onward for one and one purpose only: depopulation. And that as a result, some 30% of the lineage subjected to fluoridation have been rendered infertile and have already died out or are in the process of dying out. What the freak? And when you get into this, and again, it was just by accident. I was going in a different direction, but listen, there have been those who have the documented evidence that show we don't need a freaking war. I mean, I think war is coming because it is fast and quick, but it's the nudging principle. If you have a huge agenda, you will never be able to get that agenda if you try to push it through all at once. But you will always be nearly 100% successful. And this goes in so many different areas that if you simply do the nudge, just nudge. Sometimes you don't even know it. You just nudge. And I can nudge you enough that before you realize it, I've got you fully indoctrinated, or in this case, 86th. He says over the past 60 years, the depopulation agenda has grown into a global program that invokes the vast majority of the world's governments and the entire international community. The results of which there are very few places in the world where our children can drink water and milk or eat salt without serious repercussions on their ability to procreate. The genetic quality of their offspring, if they do succeed, their mental and intellectual integrity, and their general health go down. Yeah. So he says, if it allowed to continue, the fluoridation genocide, why is it that the United States is still one of the last countries, it's the only major power that still poisons its people? Fluoridation does not work. We know this, got the science, but yet it is still mandated by federal, state, and local laws that all water treatment centers, facilities, are fluoridated, along with chlorinated and whatever aided they're doing to us. He says, if allowed to continue, the fluoridation genocide will annihilate the majority of mankind within a few generations and reduce those who survive to mental retardation and severe genetic degradation, making life undesirable and long-term survivable impossible. As of 2001, the war raged on us by our governments has created a new and far more destructive phase through the adoption of genetically modified organisms. I contend, and this is my opinion. I've done a video on this. I have the PowerPoint pulled up. It's my theory, and I postulated this out in the video I did, that we are in probably stage 4 or phase 4, however you want to frame it, of this experiment that started nearly 50, 60 years ago. And when you got companies like Monsanto and others that are the patented leader on the world of genetically modified seeds, that this has been so ingrained, it's very, very difficult to find Harlem seeds. Very hard. The pure seeds, the cross geneticness, actually, it's not so much when the farmer plants the seed, it's what happens to the soil as that seed begins to propagate up into producing food. And it's so now widespread in the food system that I think, as one person told me, it's almost impossible to really have pure organic food. The food that we eat now is so devoid of minerals. It's so devoid of the vitamin content. The natural essences of the plants have been degraded to such a point that many times it does more harm than good. And then we're not even talking about the pesticides. How virtually all the food that when you go into your grocery store, even the organic section, it's all contaminated. It's like that Star Trek episode where they thought they landed on Eden, the Garden of Eden, all these precious plants and the fruit was everywhere. And then they ate it and they realized the fruit was like acid. So let's continue on. This is an interesting book. If you want it, and I know I'm catching up on my emails, I didn't realize I'm nearly a month behind, but hey, I try to get them out as quick as I can. He says that this is undoubtedly the 21st century's most important book. I will say this without a shred of doubt or hesitation. I think the man has lots of facts here. In fact, it is so important that history will have to be rewritten. It is not its form that gives it this distinction, as every word you are about to read is a first draft and has yet to benefit from a revision, but it's the content. I wrote this book with a sense of desperate urgency over the course of 2 months, knowing that every day that passes, countless people will die unaware that they are under attack and that their bloodlines are about to be extinguished. And unable to protect themselves, their families, and their children. I want to say this. I know personally a number of families, they don't have the progenitor of the future. There's no longer any children. The males died out without procreating. The women are unable to be pregnant. As a result, I personally know, Lynn and I were talking about this, a number, and more than I can count on one hand. The families are gone. Interesting. I want to continue to move on because you can see he is very serious about this. He sees this as a matter of life and death. He said, most of us have an intuitive feeling that something is not right. Yeah, still got it today. I mean, this was written nearly 9 years ago, with the world, and that we are being lied to from all directions. Yeah, still being lied to. Governments, media, and international organizations. We are also aware that nothing works as it should, and that the powers to be are making decisions that seem irrational, are clearly against our own best interest, and lead to systematic collapse and universal hardship. This guy could have written this yesterday, and it would be totally apropos for the moment. Whoa. What we cannot understand is why they are trying their utmost to destroy the existing social structures and to deceive us. You will find that answer here and will once again be able to make sense of the world around you and take control of your destiny if and when you reach out to others and take responsibility. Let's see. He says the highest echelons of the world's political, economic, scientific communities have, for the past 60 years, been pursuing a plan that is without precedent in both scope and boldness, and is as necessary as it is frightening, and can be described as diabolically criminal and magnificently benevolent in the same breath. Boy, if that doesn't describe what we are in today, boy, talk about the dichotomies. Woo. Uh, um, with the same degree of accuracy, depending on whether you are an outsider or an insider, depending, in other words, if you have been scheduled to die or chosen to live. There is a theory, I don't know, maybe a postulation of thought that all of us have already been marked. All of us. Whatever is driving this, the tally is already out. Question is, where is your number and what color code are you? I'm moving on this very quickly because this is really, we won't get enough into it. But anyway, let it be known from the outset that I strongly approve the goal, which is rapid depopulation to save mankind from self-destruction and the planet from ecological collapse, but bitterly condemn the methods, and that I will fight to my last breath to ensure that the goals are attained not by their plans, but by ours, which I have already conceived as the only viable alternative and baptized the OMOBOS, the acronym from out of body, out of our mind, our body, our soul. I want to move on here because he gets into it. It's amazing. We don't drink the water where we live. Don't even like bathing in it, to be honest with you. But they say it meets all the health standards. We see the testing that they do. But then again, I've learned I'm not out there doing the testing. So I can say anything. How am I supposed to know? We know that water is the world's most precious and contested resource. Pressure on fresh water are rising due to the expanding needs of agriculture, industry, energy production, and household use. But here's where they get us, is what they put in the water. How many of you remember the story up in Flint, Michigan? Water was so contaminated in the city system that you couldn't bathe in it, you couldn't drink it, that they literally had to ship in the water. So he goes on in quite detailed. We don't have enough time here to get into all of it, but if you so want to read it, he does his great job in providing all the references. And again, for a book that was written nearly 9 years ago, I have seen nothing change in the prevention of what he was writing. The fact of the matter is that the United States has decreased in intelligence IQ of its general population. Compared to other countries, the United States, in many cases, is double digits down. The students getting out of high school, the students getting out of college are basically worthless. Most do not have basic common sense skills. It eludes them. Most are dependent on someone else telling them what to do, what to think, how to eat, how to drink. And particularly today in the United States has now joined the list of other countries such as Japan, Great Britain, many others, Germany, is that now we have such a large percentage of the males who can no longer produce living sperm. Their spermatozoids are so low in content, and that the fact that most of them are shooting blanks. The young girls, particularly now with what's going on, are finding out that many are finding it difficult to conceive, and even once conception is achieved, to be able to maintain full gestation. So again, he gets really into this, and you really should, if you want this, if you're one person who is, a particularly fanatic like I am, I'd love to see the graphs of the charts. Tell me how you're getting this, because if I'm going to learn this, I want to know, well, how did it come about for you? And this one, he does a great job in it. So think about it. Now, he happens to have another book that he wrote called Killing Us Softly: Causes and Consequences of the Global Depopulation Policy. And I contend that that's what we're dealing with today. I know what the guise is, but I contend that that is the agenda. Earth is becoming overpopulated. And I know there's a lot of debate on that. But when you look at food, when you look at availability of housing, all of these things are coming into play. And of course, weather, etc. Now, this guy wrote this book, by the way. Nina, you're going to find this out. He was in Canada. This was a pretrial detention for his defense of human rights. He was in jail or in prison for 75 days. He lost 55 pounds or 27% of his initial body weight and came within 1 inch of death in his attempt to compel the Canadian government, and by extension, the international community, to stop their devastating methods of population control and adapt worldwide legislation instead. The Canadian authorities watched me wither from 206 pounds to 150 pounds and hoped that I would die. To keep my hunger strike secret, they prevented me from seeing the International Red Cross, and the Canadian media remained silent throughout. Despite my sacrifice, the Canadian authorities and the international community did nothing to stop the depopulation genocide. To this day, it proceeds as it has for the past 65 years, with complete disregard for human life and dignity. Since its inception of 1945, the global depopulation policy has never been exposed, even though over the course of 7 decades, it has gradually come to affect every human being on the planet. It has been concealed from the world at great cost in human life and treasure, because it constitutes crimes against humanity that are without parallel in human history. This is the first time the global depopulation policy is exposed. What you are about to read is forbidden fruit. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there are now lawsuits being filed against the Trump administration, filed against the Biden administration, filed against Great Britain, Germany, France, Spain, Israel. The more and more countries are being added. The population, the citizens are suing their governments for participating in a worldwide agenda for depopulating the citizens. It's what they're doing. They are actually in the midst of conducting human genocide. The United States government is guilty of human genocide. Great Britain is guilty of human genocide. France, Germany, Israel, Spain, Italy. It goes on and on and on. China, Russia. And these governments will come down eventually. These perpetrators of this human genocide will be held responsible. But in the interim, you and I are the victims here. They don't give a rat's ass about any of us because none of us are on a list, how shall we say, to be pampered. Yeah. Now he goes on and simply puts out, when you look at countries like India, India is a target. Africa has been and is still a target. China, Russia, the United States, these countries are actively involving in culling the local population. The problem is this one didn't do it. They thought it would. This one didn't do it, which leads many of us to believe that there's something else coming, something far, 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 far worse, much more nefarious. Didn't work. And or they are setting the stage by implementing policies that will ensure when phase 2 begins that the population is properly primed. Again, I encourage you to, if you want the book, let me know. The gentleman has done his homework. I like this. He said, we started to become victims of our own success when science and technology gradually enabled us to survive the natural scourges that have kept us in check throughout history: pestilence, war, famine, and death, the four horsemen. These have actually, man has seen these as enemies, but actually they were here for our own good. Now it seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? These four horsemen of the apocalypse have been the natural enemies of our species. We have been waging war on them since times immemorial, and as we have largely vanquished them, we found ourselves unchallenged on Earth. We have become the unstoppable force, absorbing Earth's space and productivity capacity and displacing all other species to make room for our ever-growing needs and numbers. Yeah. We are now confident. We now confront a set of physical realities that are unprecedented: overpopulation, hyperconsumption, and longer lifespans. You know, when you think about it, when the human lifespan was 37 years, you didn't have to worry about all the crap. You were going to die most likely in your teens. If you made it to your 20s, you were exceptional. And if you made it past 30, well, you got the longevity gene, baby. I said, for the first 250 million years of our existence, we have struggled to survive and remain few in numbers, reaching 500 millions by the late Middle Ages. In the succeeding 300 years, circa 1500 AD to 1800, we doubled our numbers thanks to improvement in agriculture, transportation, and distribution. Population pressures during these 3 centuries were relieved by immigration to the New World. Excuse me. Just send them all over here. That's what they did. Yeah. Get the hell out. Go to America. You know, The next doubling from 1 to 2 billion took only 1 century and occurred with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, when Europe's population began to grow at an unprecedented pace. Medical advances allowed most children to survive childhood, while better nutrition and sanitation extended the lifespan. Population pressures during this time were relieved by the European conquest and the exploitation of colonies in Africa and Asia. I mean, Australia, that's how you came about. Man, I'm sure that the Aboriginal people are going, why'd you white men bring all these people here? As the benefits of science and technology became global, the surge in population became global too. And 1 billion people were added in only 50 years, bringing the total to 3 billion by 1950. Population pressures in this half century could no longer be absorbed by migration or the exploitation of colonies, and this led to a bitter struggle for resources during the 2 world wars, a struggle that has ravaged entire nations and killed more than 80 million people, more casualties than all other conflicts in history combined. Since 1950, we've added 1 billion new people every 10 to 15 years, bringing the total population to 4 billion by 1970, 5 billion by 87, 6 billion by 99, and 7 billion by 2011. And the new numbers are out. We're about to hit 8 billion. We'll be there in less than a year and 2 or 3 months. Of course, I did a show with Judith over on Night Flight. And as she said, well, how do we know that there's actually 7 billion people? I mean, who's out there counting? I mean, I get the idea of the birth certificate. Yeah. But, Anyway, as you can see, I think we're going to hit the peak of 9 billion before 2050. I think whatever's coming down the pike will be here way before 2050. We may be starting at a 0 net sum gain in 2050. Who knows? So anyway, check it out. He does a great story. In fact, by the time you get through all this, you're going, oh shit. How do we, and you go, wait a minute, I need to start, growing my own food. Well, but wait a minute, the water is contaminated. Where do I get good? It's just on and on. And the thing that he also brings out, here's something, folks, I read also on a blog, our soil is dying. Literally, our soil is dying. In fact, as you see, you almost have to bring in continued sublimation in the form of whether it's compost, whether it's a form of adding other natural ingredients. It's nuts. And if you live in a subdivision, the amount of artificial fertilizers put on each yard as it runs off into the local water system, into the storm drains, thus then begins to pollute. And I didn't even get into the fact, folks, of all the estrogen that is in our water. It's in our food. We have boys turn into girls because guess what? Most of them are consuming amounts of estrogen that should never have been there. And then when you think about the number of pharmaceuticals, the average household, I live in a affluent area, it's a subdivision, community is what they call it, but it doesn't matter. A lot of houses. And as I drive by, I begin to think how many people in that house are taking a prescription drug. I'll guarantee you probably every one of them, or virtually almost all of them. And every time they take a piss or every time they crap, they're just dumping the residue of their pharmaceuticals into the sewer system, which then is separated out to become now potable water, to become drinkable water. But we don't have any way of filtering out all the pharmaceuticals that are in the water. Boom. And it's the truth. And it sucks. And you just look at this and you're going, and I'm worried about black fibers in a mask. Really? I want the fucking red pill and the blue pill. Man, give them to me both. I don't give a damn what party you're going to put me in. Just put me someplace else other than here. This is just too much. Okay, so that's basically what I got, folks. And, you know, you just look at this and you just shake your head and you're going, yeah, sure, we're a smart species. Yep. We got to figure it out. I don't know what part of ascension helps all this, but I'm assuming that somewhere in the ascension process, we get some kind of derivative out of it that, you know, we can take a look at the earth and the earth is saying, hey, what the fuck about me, huh? I got to put up with you people. Yeah, it's nuts. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Blazing Ridges, I was raised on blue pills. It's so true, folks. And you have to laugh because otherwise, you know, it'll drive you nuts. And crying ain't going to do any good at all. And you know, it's at times it becomes so overwhelming. I mean, you think about, well, if I did this small part, would it really matter? Because they got a tsunami of crap about to come back over on top of me. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the nihilist approach. I don't know. Whew. Yes, the rare F-bomb. You know, it sometimes you just although I know the word means fornication under consent of the king, we have termed the phrase today to be a catch-all for just about, you know, things are going, they can either be really good, really bad, really messed up, or really sad. I don't know. All right. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, it is. You kind of go, yeah. You mean you walk out of this and today, you know, you just kind of go, okay, what the hell does Steiger do to us, you know? Where's the solution, man? I don't know what the solution is. I don't. I really don't. Here's my concern as we begin to say goodbye to everybody. So if same as above as below, right? If what's in the spirit realm is in the physical realm, is the spiritual realm all contaminated? I'm just asking. I mean, it would seem to follow, right? Did someone go over there and mess that up over there? I don't know. Purple, please. We are the solution. I agree, Deborah. I'm just seeing here. Now stay away from the fluoride. Yes, if we could. All right, folks. Well, this has been fun. Yeah, right. It was the time bandit. Yeah, it was a fast hour. I mean, I literally looked up. I thought I had only been about 20 minutes into this. I really did. It goes to show you how our perception of time is greatly affected by what's up here. And I'll continue to let you know as I'm going to check these mask things out. You know, I'm looking forward to today where we can say the hell with them. But until then, all right, folks, be on with Trina tomorrow, a second look. Happy to report that Trina's dog, Zodiac, that she thought that they were going to have to put down, Zodiac is going to continue to live. In fact, Zodiac is doing far better. The tumor that they thought that they could get out has shrunk. So all I got to say is just keep those positive thoughts going, you know, just keep on doing that. You know, that's how we do it. There we go. All right. Much love to you all. You're welcome, Robert V. Good show you had on the other night. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. All right, you groovy people. I'll see you tomorrow with the lovely Miss Trina. And Wednesday, I've got writer Lee coming on. And I always enjoy that. And then we'll see what the rest of the week holds. Y'all are just beautiful. We are the solution. Deborah Truax, you are really true on that. We are. We just have to continue to believe it. And maybe it's the small things. Maybe we begin to change things. I'll think about this a little bit later. All right. Much love to everyone. See y'all tomorrow. BOSTO to one.